gentlemen, welcome back to podcast 19. I'm in a very happy mood and I'm Donald Wunder. I'm here with my talkative host I had last time because this is part 2 of our DC is so awesome discussion, and I'm here with my buddy Simon Rad.
Fuck this movie. Good evening, morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. It doesn't matter.
So people, this is a follow-up, as I just mentioned, to our DC discussion. It is now, I don't know how long it's been since we did the first one, a week or two, and now we have all seen the dawn of justice, and it's been getting some polarizing reviews. There's no point me making a secret of my opinion because I already did a little quibble, so you guys already know I do not like this movie. I have a lot to say on it, but to be honest with you, I'm not going to regurgitate a lot of the stuff people are saying because everyone's breaking it down, and there's gonna be a discussion, but there's a lot of other things I want to point to, as well as things I don't like about the movie, because I absolutely have to. But first of all, did not like the movie. I think it's a bit of a disservice to the original material, disservice to the fans. And yes, I'm someone who's read the comics and watched the animated series, but we'll get more into it. And Simon, you watched it just a couple hours ago. So what do you think of the movie?
Oh wow! Did you say is disservice to the fans or the people who read the comics? This movie's disservice to common sense and logic. Come on. You know what? I'm happy because there are a lot of people eating crows right now, and I just want to ask them: does it taste good? Because when we did our discussion last week, everybody was like, "Oh, you wait and see when the movie comes out. When Ben Affleck puts on the cape, then you will know. You will know the awesomeness that's upon you." And I'm like, well, at least now I can watch Batman Robin and feel better about it, because compared to this movie, that movie actually has like a plot and a beginning, middle, and an end. So like, it's kind of childish, but you know, as a kid, I didn't mind it, and right now I can still watch it as a film, a motion picture with a script and acting. Even if it's not good.
You need to chill out, Simon. Chill out.
That movie's cool.
Really cool.
Exactly. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna watch Batman Robin to feel better about Batman. I work my way back up to the Dark Knight again. But yeah, I was fortunate enough to just want to clarify that I haven't spent money on this movie. I don't think it deserves anybody's attention on a cinematic level. You can wait for it if you haven't seen it. I had a buddy watching it on his computer through some unknown source, and I was lucky enough to chime in and share the unpleasant experience with him. Oh, by the way, it was also from some crazy Middle Eastern site, and they kept running a phone number during the basically the stream. So I'm pretty sure somebody somewhere is using this movie as an ISIS recruitment video, saying that you should call this number if this movie pisses you off enough to destroy the United States. I'm sure this movie is used as ISIS promotion.
Oh man, you're going too far, Simon. You know, there's actually some good things I got to say about this movie, believe it or not.
Oh hell no.
Yeah.
Yo, you're being fake. Come on now, man.
We'll see.
Get rid of that check, man.
We'll see.
Don't sell your soul.
We'll see. I'm being real. There's some things I like about the movie, but honestly,
don't call it a comeback and don't call this shit a movie.
But honestly, guys, I want you, before we get into it, because we're going to talk about the movie, then I actually want to talk about. I know what you're going to say when I say this, and then I want to actually talk about the future of DC. I know we already spoke about what we thought, but now seeing the movie, maybe the future for the DC cinematic universe is a little bit more clear, and now we've seen this movie. So I'm going to ask you about that. But first of all, guys, I want to give a little bit of feedback to, first of all, the first podcast we made, like Simon said, people were like, oh, you guys are so critical, you don't understand, you're just fanboys, you hate DC, why are you even sharing the video on Reddit? I got so much hate. I knew I was going to get hate for sharing this on Reddit, but you guys, I wanted you guys to hear an opposite opinion, and unfortunately, most of the things we said about this movie came true. And we're not Marvel fanboys, but unfortunately, there's another comic book company, or Marvel, Disney, that are doing it right, or adapting these things right. Well, I feel this other company, Warner Brothers, DC, or what have you, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And after seeing this movie, my mind has to change. And to be honest with you, I'm going to tell you guys my biggest problem with this movie right off the bat. And to do that, I need to backtrack just a little bit. It's a bit of a long one, but just bear with me, people. I'm not going to bore you, but I want you to understand, growing up, Superman was a character I didn't think was really interesting at all. I thought Superman was just a big, brawn super god who's bossy, who's just, I don't know. I didn't think he was interesting.
Or a Boy Scout. A goody Boy Scout. He was very one note. He was always upbeat and hopeful, and it seemed like nothing could really get him to come out of his comfort zone. He was a Boy Scout who sometimes felt a little preachy if you watched the wrong interpretation of him.
Yeah, I did love the original Christopher Reeve Superman movies, and that was fine, but just watching the cartoons and the comics, I thought he's just vanilla. It never struck me out as a character I liked. But as I got older, and even as my sister got me to watch stuff like the Justice League, and I started to read some fantastic single elsewhere stories like Red Sun, like what's the one of our favorites as well?
All-Star Superman,
Superman Secret Identity. Max Landis is writing a story called American Alien. There have been some storylines about Superman where I saw him from the perspective of a complex character, an alien immigrant coming to Earth with all these powers, that has all this responsibility, and there's all these woes. And Superman, to me, is one of the most interesting and deep superheroes that has been explored very well in comic books and through animation. And guys, I was a fan of Man of Steel because, again, it was another interpretation of the superhero that I know a lot of people didn't like, but I thought, look, this is Superman. This would be Superman in today's age. It's gloomy, yes. He's emo. He's letting all these people die, but it was kind of realistic. He had his problems, but I thought, you know what? I like this interpretation of Superman, and I wanted to build upon it. So then we get to this movie here, Dawn of Justice. And as I said before, the first thing that upset me was that I thought they needed to do a Man of Steel 2 movie because they needed to develop this character, to develop the universe, but nope, we need to get Batman in this shit right now, even though they don't know each other, even though Batman just had a trilogy. Fuck that. Batman, Justice League, Marvel were making it work. Warner Bros. Need to make that fucking money. And I said, no man, don't do it. Warner Bros. Don't do it. It's not gonna work. Movie comes out, just watch the movie, and you know what? It was a fucking clusterfuck. It was exactly what I thought it was gonna be. It was 5 different movies, 4 different characters, random, just scatterbrain plot lines, all in one movie. And the one thing I liked about the movie, which I said Simon thought I was bullshitting, was the acting. The cast is good. The acting is okay. But this is...
we'll talk about that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we will. But I will say this is a perfect example, yeah, of no matter who you cast in the movie. And then I'm not going to say they're the most mind-blowing Oscar-nominated actors, but this is a decent cast. But it doesn't matter because the script is a fucking mess. And if you know the source material, and I will put myself out as a fanboy, if you know a lot of the source material, they just pick and chose ideas and put it together. So as a fan, I think this is a fucking clusterfuck of a mess where they ruined future stories, which is the worst part for Superman in particular as a character, the first superhero, a superhero that nobody even likes in this universe, this Man of Steel universe. Nobody even liked him in this movie, and the fans didn't like him in real life. And this movie, spoilers, put this fucker in a casket anyway. I'm like, what the fuck are you thinking? But
yeah, bury them 6 feet under. Just get rid of him. It was a complete Batman takeover. It was like one of those old school hip hop remixes with, you know, the Notorious B.I.G., where he would just come on the track and the original artist would just be in the background like, yeah.
Exactly, like Craig Mack. Exactly,
yeah,
like
exactly.
Craig Mack.
That's it. This started off as a 2-man show, and by the end, it's a complete Batman reboot. It's a Batman movie through and through. Superman's dead and gone, literally. It's like that's it.
And yeah, we know he's not really dead, but I'm just saying.
Well, I know.
They've ruined his character because, and I'm gonna let you speak, Sam, because this is my first ramble. I'm gonna let you speak, but I just want to say categorically, people who are listening to this, put this in perspective. The first Superman movie started off okay, then they went bad. Superman 3, 4, then they tried to do Superman Returns, terrible. No one liked Man of Steel. So, for me, I just felt like this is Warner Brothers saying to me, fuck Superman. Look, we're done with it. We're gonna throw out his most epic fight and let's just focus on Batman now. And that's the most disappointing thing to me about this movie. I'll get into more, but it's time for you to just explain yourself a little bit, Simon.
You know what this movie and the whole DC franchise is? It's a chicken with its head cut off running around with blood squirting. That's what it is. It's a headless chicken that doesn't know where it's going to go, what it's going to do, and is just making a mess out of everything in the environment. This movie really exposed Zack Snyder for who he is. Christopher Nolan was the type of kid who you give him a box of Legos, he would look at it, pick out the pieces he liked, and would build something like a building or a castle. Zack Snyder was the kid who you gave a box of Legos to, and then he would take some duct tape and the Lego pieces that wouldn't fit together and just glue that shit together to some horrendous piece of crap, and would walk over and start bashing Christopher Nolan's building like, That's that motherfucker. This clown. Oh my god. He literally took stuff that made no sense and had no business being in continuity with each other, and somehow just shoehorned it in and called it a film. Worst part about this movie, if you can call it that, for me was how unoriginal it is. You had 2.5 hours with the removed R-rated material, 3 hours, and none of it, not a single scene of it is new. If you saw previous Batman films, if you watched the animated series, if you played any of the video games, you've seen this entire movie. There's nothing in this film that hasn't been done before. The part with Doomsday, that's the death of Superman. Batman's fight scenes, that's from the Arkham video games. The plot, Lex Luthor tricks them into fighting each other, that was just done in the Brave and the Bold cartoon, and then Jim Lee's Hush in the comics, and then the World's Finest episode in the animated series, and then the Dark Knight Returns in comics. It's just like, it's the same thing rehashed. You gave him these characters, and Zack Snyder had absolutely no clue where he wants to take him. So after a while, he just said, screw it. The reason why I didn't like the ending of Man of Steel, because it was an omen to this. It was him saying, okay, they got Christopher Nolan here holding me back, but now I can just unleash. and that's what he did. In this movie, Superman, first thing he does, he just kills a guy for no reason. He could have just, Lois Lane is being held hostage. He could just easily swoop in, grab the gun, disarm the guy. No, he punched his ass through a wall. Then Batman comes in. First he's like Guantanamo Bay. He just grabs criminals, no trial or anything, tortures them. Then he's like, you know what I like about Tim Burton's movie? The machine guns, and just shoots at least 20 people dead. I was like, what am I watching? This isn't even the best summary. This is, we're gonna dissect the movie, but this is not an interpretation of anything. Zack Snyder has no clue who Clark Kent is.
No.
Who Bruce Wayne is.
No.
He's not interested in Superman. He has a visual fetish for Batman.
Yes.
And that's the baseline for his approach. But because he has absolutely no original concepts, he just rehashes a bunch of stuff in slow motion. The beginning of this movie is once again Batman's origin.
Fuck's sake.
The funeral. The murder of his parents. Little Bruce Wayne running in the woods and falling into a damn hole again. How many times do I have to watch this motherfucker fall down a fucking hole?
They got a fucking series on television right now called Gotham where there was 3 episodes. It's on every fucking year. Jesus Christ.
I know. And it was shot for shot the same thing from Batman Begins. I'm like, do you have a different angle on this guy? Or at least can we see the origin in a different way? And the only thing Zack Snyder adds is slow motion and nonsense. Because in this one, when the Blats swarm him, he's not like scared of it. The Blats surround him and lift him up from the hole like a flying Jesus with his arms in a cross. I'm like, what the hell? We're 5 minutes in and this shit doesn't make any sense already. And that's all you really need to know. If you still try to defend this movie, well, good luck.
I mean, like I said, I always try to be the devil's advocate. If you're not a fan of any of these comics, I can honestly just tell you, if you have common sense, as Simon says, just from a story narrative perspective, it's scatterbrain. I mean, Superman walks, and I'll keep going on about, oh, I love Superman, Superman's my favorite. But Superman, if you watch the trailers, yeah, you see the scene where Superman is coming to the court to explain himself. Was that one of the biggest parts of the movie?
Yeah, sure.
Superman's on trial. Superman done all this stuff. Superman's a god. But here we're going to hear him talk. This is the movie. Superman, explain yourself. Kaboom!
Yeah, a bomb goes off.
And then you never hear him talk.
Nope. Well, that's the thing. Talking is not interesting to Zack Snyder.
Well, not talking. I'm just saying, as a character, there is no development for him, and he is half of Batman versus Superman. He's half of the movie. Yeah, he's not in the movie. Batman, you got, like you said, you got his origin story. You got him saying he hates Bruce Wayne, and yes, Ben Affleck is very charismatic as Batman. He carries the movie.
Really?
No, to me, but that's because they wrote the movie for him. They wrote the movie for him. He
wrote the movie for himself, apparently. But see, here's the thing. Like, there's no question about it. Everybody deserves a Razzie Award for this movie. I mean, especially Zack Snyder, shove it right up his ass. But Jesse Eisenberg, we're gonna get to him. He's very special. He makes the movie a special experience. But Ben Affleck in this movie, I don't know how you can say he was charismatic or charming, because his character managed to be a complete idiot and an asshole in a movie where he's supposed to be super smart and like the hero. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, your main character is an idiot, short-tempered nut job, and the main plotline of the movie, of the versus part, is a dick measuring contest. They fight for no reason, and then make up 5 minutes later, and then they're best buddies. That's the whole movie. And for Ben Affleck to make sense of it and give some sort of character out to Bruce Wayne and convey the emotion that this movie sets up, that he sees his building being destroyed in the beginning of the movie, where, by the way, he alone, just by driving through the street, does more property damage than Superman. And I still have no idea what was his expectation. Like, what was he trying to do? He basically drives to the building and then runs into the dust.
Well, obviously, if I wanted to nitpick, and I could, in any interpretation of Batman I've seen, the comics or the cartoon, he would have gone and got his Batwing, or he would have gone and got his Batcar. He wouldn't run in there bare with nothing into a falling buildings. It makes no sense. It's just for spectacle. It's just bad. It looked good, but it's not realistic. It's like, no one would do that, especially not a fucking superhero.
Yeah, especially not somebody with common sense who knows that just by getting exposed to all the rubble and stuff is probably going to make him sick.
And you wouldn't even be able to see anything falling from the sky.
No, of course not. But that's his setup. That traumatic experience made him, wary of Superman's existence. And then over the course of the movie, he's supposed to learn to.
Well, actually, can I stop you there? Can I stop you?
Yeah,
there?
sure. You go.
There's a plot point you brought up. Between that time, now sorry guys, I do not want to do this, but I have to, because this is another nitpicking plot fucking hole. You're telling me, right? This is in the movie. 18 months between Man of Steel and this movie. They're saying this was the first time they asked Superman to come and speak. 18 months! This was the first time they asked him. This is basically a recreation of 9/11. Millions of people died. And this is the first time Bruce Wayne, for 18 months, has been brewing for 18 months. To wait just for now, that is completely unbelievable. I found that extremely hard to believe, that 18. And then, by the way, Superman, everyone's still bitching about Superman. There's a montage of him saving people halfway through. He's been Superman for 18 months, and people are still bitching about him, and he hasn't come to say his piece for 18 months.
But they managed to build him a statue, though, in record time. Maybe they outsourced it to China and just flew it over. I don't know. But
on that note, Superman isn't helping out with the destruction. Obviously, they never showed it. I'm like, he's Superman. He should be able to build a fucking building. Yeah, half the time.
This all comes back to that the ending of Man of Steel was inconsistent. and they basically shoehorned this plot line in because people complained. And this is the style these movies are made. Like, any mistake they make, they're okay with it because they're gonna do another movie anyway. So based on fan feedback, they're gonna shoehorn something in just to please people. Like, the whole scene, like, it's not important to the plot where Lex Luthor detonates the bomb. It could have been anywhere. So the fact that Superman was quote unquote in court doesn't make any difference whatsoever.
And funny thing about that scene is, the film, you know how the film would have been like 30% better for me if they just let the scene happen. If, I know we're spoiling it, if you haven't seen it, obviously you're lost, but I'm just saying, Superman comes to court to explain himself. If they had that conversation, that the film was built on this conversation, if you ask me, a big part of the film was meant to be this conversation. Have the conversation, then blow up the building. Why didn't they play that out so we can get some development for him, so we can hear his point of view, and then kill everybody? That to me is like, at least then, you know, Superman got to have his say, but no one heard it. But in this interpretation, Superman comes and they make him even more of a fool because he never heard the ticking, or he never saw it. So he just came there, saw it for 5 seconds, opened his mouth, explosion, and he's like, "Oh shit, I should have saw something."
Oh yeah, that's not even worth getting into because there's so many plot points. Like, where the Superman is really completely inconsistent in terms of his abilities. I mean, at some point, Lex Luthor, at this point we're knee deep in spoilers, but who cares? Lex Luthor throws Lois Lane off of a building, saying that Superman always comes to rescue you, so it's a done deal. But they just kidnapped his mother 5 minutes before. I'm like, so he could save Lois, but he didn't hear his mother screaming, "Help!"
No, that makes sense because he's only known Lois for 18 months, but he's known his mother all his life, so that makes perfect sense.
Exactly, and that summarizes Zack Snyder's lazy approach to this. That you could have had a very interesting scene of a kidnapping where they have to do it in complete silence. So they use special preparation, and it's like a whole silent scene with no sound, but these guys, you know, break into wherever his mom is, take out all the security, grab her in complete silence, and just drive off. And that would have been an interesting scene to shoot, because it takes Superman's abilities in consideration, and they come up with clever ways to combat that. You know, use a truck covered in what's the material he can't see through? Iron? Lead. He can't see through lead, so cover the truck in lead. Like, clever stuff like that shows that you actually pay attention to what you're writing in the script. But no, here it's just like, oh, he couldn't hear that, but here's Lois. Done deal. And just getting back to what I was saying about Batman and Ben Affleck's portrayal, I don't know what people see in it because he didn't convey any emotion whatsoever to have an arc. So I'm just as confused of why his character did what he did throughout the whole movie, even though they give him a million dream sequences and flashbacks, and we keep going back to his origin and the parents' death. But I still don't know what the character is about.
Let me defend it a little bit, because I know because I'll just, from my perspective, it's a mixture of things. Number one, people like seeing Ben Affleck evolve from Daredevil. It's like we want to see him do. People want to see him do better, and you know, I know you might not think, you know, it's not much to do better than what he done in Daredevil. I thought he's conveying a lot of emotion. He's more serious. The scene in the trailer, you didn't see the trailer, but when he's talking to Clark and they're talking about, it's a Batvision, he's you know, that's the part I said charismatic. Apart from that, just like you said, the only thing he's showing is rage and anger, which is very one note. So, but like to be honest with you, I gave him more props just because I saw him in the movie and it's like, you're not bad. But then, to be fair, like what you're saying, he doesn't show range. There's not much emotion. He's angry, he wants vengeance, and he's brutal. That's it.
I see what you mean. I'll say this because, again, this movie is so consistently flawed. Like, the flaws keep coming back. That we could nitpick his performance as well. But I'll say this. Like, my problem with him in a nutshell is what I suspect that is going to be the case when they cast him. That he's not really Batman, but more like the image of Batman. His performance is very similar to what the Pierce Brosnan era James Bond was.
Yes.
Where Pierce Brosnan was the image of James Bond. He looked good on posters. He looked good in a tuxedo. Yeah. You can put him in a, you know, Vogue or Cosmopolitan to get his female fans interested in something that's mainly a guy movie. You know, and he was good for that. But in terms of his portrayal was so safe and such a rehash of what we've seen before that the character is a complete cliche and uninteresting. And that's his Batman in this movie for the most part. He looks around in the dark, he's sad about his parents, he's pissed off, he's angry, and he's violent. Anything Zack Snyder did above that was just to really shock the audience, because otherwise Batman would have been a complete snooze in this movie. It would have been just a less good version of the Christopher Nolan movies or the Tim Burton movies or even the Joel Schumacher movies. So he had to do something to stand out, and that's the Batman in this movie is sociopathic, murdering, and basically a sadist.
And that's what people are like. Cool. That's what they're call. Everyone's calling cool. Like everyone's saying, no matter how bad the movie is, he's the best thing coming out of it. And I know for you, that's small praise. For me,
yeah, well, that's the thing. Like
for me, I'm sick of Batman. I told you I'm sick of Batman. So I don't give a shit about Batman.
Yeah, but it's funny. Like we just had, like that's the point of like every Batman comic, every Batman movie. They make a big point that Batman doesn't cross the line because that keeps him different from the criminal. He doesn't kill. He doesn't torture. He tries to keep the demon under control. In this movie, there's absolutely no consequence to his actions. Like the whole movie is about Superman can't do anything without being ridiculed, right? But Batman does all these things, and the only guy concerned about it is Clark Kent. And even that is like a stupid plot point. But I just think that once again, if Ben Affleck wanted to do something interesting as an actor, he could have approached how these things affect Bruce Wayne in everyday life.
Well, he's getting his own movie series, so you're probably going to get your wish, mate.
Okay, you know what? He can write a blog about it. Don't make a movie. I don't care that much. Let's scrap that. I'm going to shut up now about Batman. Basically, he's boring. That end of story, and the interpretation he did with him
let's move on, because I've bitched about Superman. You bitched about Batman, but this is a 4-layer movie. As you said, this movie's got a lot going on. So let's move on to the other stupid parts they thought were great. So let's talk about, I don't want to talk about it for long. Lex Luthor, guys, look. I found out after the fact, I don't want to spend too much time on this. Jesse Eisenberg, when he was cast as Lex Luthor, everyone was just screaming. I just found out today, just before recording this movie, that he was actually cast as Jimmy Olsen, but then his performance kind of disturbed what's his face, and then he was like, you know what? I feel kind of like you would be a good new interpretation for Lex. But again, you guys already know that Bryan Cranston turned down the role, so I don't know if he was. I don't know where he came up with this. And then to play it safe, Warner Brothers are like, you know what? Just in case the fans don't like him, let's say he's Lex Luthor Jr. So in the next movie, you could be. It's again, you picking random ideas. It's like not thought out at all. And this guy's performance in the movie is just look. It's too easy to say he's fucking ridiculous. Let me put it this way. He seems like he should be in a completely different movie.
Oh yeah. You know what he reminded me of? He reminded me of the fanboys that defend this movie. When they all of them meet together, because the movie's so poorly edited, you actually don't see how Lex Luthor puts together his plan and that he knows everybody's secret identity. So he just walks up to Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill and goes like, Clark Kent meets Bruce Wayne. I love it. I want to see my stamp collection. It's a limited edition Jack Kirby original. He just sounds like the fans of this movie. Like he gets excited about Bruce Wayne meets Clark Kent in a totally flat scene, by the way, where the dialogue is completely forgettable. And then he just wants them to fight, which, again, those of you who look forward to the fight that's in the title, versus, the fight's garbage. The fight's boring. It's not smart at all. Like, Batman's whole strategy is shoot him with a gun. Even though the first tagline you hear for Superman usually is that he's faster than a speeding bullet. So shooting him with a gun doesn't really sound genius.
To be honest with you, the fight was disappointing to me. It's because Batman just hammered Superman. Superman breathes in chemical, gassy kryptonite, and then his power level drops down so much. Ben Affleck just wails on him to the point. But I was like, I'm not meant to feel sorry for Superman. It's meant to be like an even fight. that Batman kind of wins. But in this interpretation, Superman just gets his ass handed to him, and then when he's about to get fucking speared, he says, "Oh, I don't even get to that." He says a name, and then the whole other plot point, and then the fight ends in the most stupidest, horribly written way. And let me just say this, by the way, you can shit on Zack Snyder a lot, but I can't let the writers get away from this, because the screenwriter for this fucking movie also deserves to be fucking crucified.
Ben Affleck, who rewrote the scenes?
It's not just him. Screenwriters, David S. Goyer and the other guy, I can't remember his name. These fucking guys should not get away scot-free. These guys wrote some of this shit, most of this shit. Obviously, these other guys involved, Ben Affleck and Snyder. But still, these fucking writers and Warner Brothers, they greenlit this shit. And they act like they know the comics that they're adapting. It's a fucking joke. This plot line to stop the fight, in particular, with Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent having the same mother, just the name alone, is it's something that shouldn't stop the fight. It's something to think about. It's something to go like, so what? Let's kill you anyway. It's not one of them, mother! No, man.
Yeah,
No.
I mean, that would have been at least interesting if they showed that Batman's completely unstable. Like, just the word, completely, like, drives him nuts and he starts crying or something. But even that, they don't have... The characters in this movie aren't real characters. There's nothing consistent about him about any of them, because they hate each other in one scene, they're best friends in the next.
Yeah.
The movie has terrible pacing. You go from no action for like a good hour to the entire wrap-up of the movie where everything's revealed, all the fights go down, and all the characters meet each other. Happens in a span of 25 minutes in movie time. One night. It just goes down all in one night. Before that, everybody was in the dark. Nobody knew what was going on. You just saw YouTube videos of the other Justice League members, which is very classy. Excellent direction, Zach. Really, really made an effort. And after that, people just meet and accept. Like, boom, we're friends now. Let's go fight. And I think that is after discussing the brilliant performances, which, by the way, everybody sucked in my opinion. The next thing is the way this movie was put together. The three cheapest things you can do with a film are montages, on-screen text, and dream sequences. And this movie is not only full of them, but they have a montage that's a dream sequence of screen on text in the form of newspapers. I'm not kidding you. This entire movie is done so lazy. The characters are introduced in such half-ass ways that I couldn't even believe it. Like, they even have dream sequences from the future, which alludes to Flashpoint.
Flashpoint, Injustice, in Darkseid. They're taking so many ideas. It's hard to pinpoint what they're ruining next. I mean, it just feels like they've just laid all the comics out on the table and like, take a bit of that, take a bit of that, take a bit of that. They're not doing bit by bit. They're just mashing it all together, and it's fucking horrible.
And it's really lazy. It's very, very lazy, because you don't have a scene where two characters just sit down and talk and actually develop. It's always some crazy dream sequence that makes no sense, or just a montage of people doing random things that actually never get resolved, and you don't know what was the importance. Or better yet, just newspapers. I spent half the time in this movie reading newspaper headlines. Because why show me something? Why let actors act? Just tell me instead via newspaper clippings. That's the way to direct the movie. Just put it on screen on newspaper. Superman did this.
Well, let me get to the last part, because I want to talk about a lot of the things after the fact as well. But we've gone through most of the movie. I just want to get to the last bit, because the funniest thing, one of the biggest really disgusting things that really bothered me, after the trailer came out that you never saw, a trailer that they first revealed Doomsday, DC went on a rant because everyone said you showed too much, you ruined everything, DC, I've got no expectations. Zack Snyder, he said, no man, you don't know what's coming, there's a big surprise. Let me tell you something, man. 75% of the movie was in that trailer. The 25% they left out was the biggest, worst decision they ever made. And that was them deciding that after all the plot points they've already used, that was a complete fucking mess. What did they do to end the movie? they decide that, you know what, fuck it, let's just throw in the death of Superman in there anyway, just for the fuck of it. And man, let me tell you something, man. That was just, when I saw that, I could not believe it. I said, you're killing Superman. In this universe, nobody likes him. Part of this movie was the debate: do we need him? Do we like him? You killed him. Why is anyone gonna give a shit?
You did a Superman origin story where he wasn't Superman until the end of the movie, and nobody saw him. They just saw the destruction. Then you do a sequel that's supposed to explain the destruction, but instead of explaining it, you get Batman in to beat him up for no reason, because it's basically a cock measuring contest. They have no legitimate reason to fight. Superman is blackmailed. He doesn't even want to fight. There's no emotional motivation. There's no ideological difference. There's no real conflict. It gets resolved within 5 minutes and they're friends. And then finally, this is the point maybe where we could start a Superman story where he's established and people not trying to kill him before the world even knows what he's doing. And then he dies. Finally, somebody kills him. Finally, after being Superman for what, 18 months?
That you never see, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. That we're told by newspaper articles. That was amazing. It was the best 18 months of Superman ever. You should read the Daily Planet, news article about it.
That he never did any interviews, by the way. In that 18 months, obviously, no one's even spoken to him, really. So nobody even knows what his thoughts. And the one time he did try to explain himself, that didn't happen.
but again, we needed a good slow-mo bagpipe sequence. So at the end of the movie, everybody's super sad. Even Batman, who went over that night to kill Superman himself, but he's like
24 hours before. I hate him
so much. He was such a good buddy, man. It was like, I'm like, did you guys watch your own movie? The only good line in the entire travesty was at the end when Ben Affleck said, "I failed." I'm like, God damn right.
you deserve a clap for actually pointing
Yeah,
out.
I gave him a slow clap, like, yeah. Because I know, I'm sorry to keep ragging on it, but I know what he's going through. He's been through a messy divorce where he cheated on his wife, so most likely the kid's gonna grow up hating him for cheating on his mom, which is understandable. So he's like, what does every kid want? His dad to be a superhero. His dad to be Batman. That will repair our relationship. And I'm like, motherfucker, you should have just gotten Daredevil on DVD. It's $1.99 in a bargain bin in Best Buy, asshole.
Do you know the funniest thing about you saying that? Of all the superhero movies, yeah, everyone's saying online, this is one of the ones you cannot take your children to see.
I know.
Because it's uber boring, it's uber long, it's uber violent. It's like, I said, I can't take my nephew to see this. Kids, there's something for kids to get in a Marvel movie or any other superhero movie. Even Man of Steel, even though that's kids could kind of relate, kind of get something from that. This movie here, you can't make kids chill. So honestly, they missed the mark. Even if you say, we do this for wider audience, so the general public can like it, kids cannot watch this movie. So no. I don't know what the fuck you're talking. And then you're already talking about an R-rated version anyway. So you've already isolated the whole group of people. So what the fuck are you talking about, DC?
And again, Zack Snyder is a special effects guy. So he's mostly putting boring scenes into slow motion, making them even more boring. He doesn't get the technical expertise of composing a good shot or building up a sequence. What I mean by that is that any Batman movie, take even the 60s Adam West movie, or Joel Schumacher's movies. Understood, there are certain things you need to introduce in a proper fashion. One example, the Batmobile. Every movie introduces a Batmobile as a significant part of Batman, as something that's cool, and when you're a kid, you get excited, you remember the sequence. Here, the Batmobile is introduced out of shot with the hood open. Alfred is doing something with it, and it's like, oh yeah, by the way, that's the Batmobile. That hunk of junk, Alfred just stick some screws in. I'm like, wow, that was interesting. Same thing with the Batcave. We just see Ben Affleck shows up at the crib, turns on a computer. Yeah, this is a Batcave. Yeah, this is some terrorist or drug dealer or something along those lines. Yeah, whatever, bye. I'm like, that was lame as shit. You had absolutely no clue how you're going to do this sequence, so you just shoehorned it in there. That's it. I mean, it's not even exciting.
You're right. They didn't even, like you said, they always market in a way where you can get toys Honestly, you're so right. I can't remember what the Batmobile looks like, and they always highlight the fashion and the coolness of Batman, his gadgets, but there was nothing to marvel at. But like I said, Simon, they already built him up to have his own movie, so we can see all that good, gorgeous shit when they drop Superman for her. When this Justice League shit fails, and we got to kind of wrap this up just so we can get onto other stuff.
Exactly.
When this Justice League shit fails, they'll go to Batman, and we got Suicide Squad. They'll probably get Batman from there, another Batman trilogy, where Ben Affleck can show his toys, show his new Batcave, show us how awesome he is. So don't worry, Simon, you'll get your Batman story. Don't worry about that, but you'll get that. Don't worry.
Please, only if they can get Casey Affleck as Nightwing in there. Please, just complete the circle and just get Casey Affleck in there as Nightwing, and we can just drive this motherfucker straight to the graveyard.
Be careful what you wish for. But anyway, guys, look, and lastly, because we need to stop talking about this fucking movie because there's too many fucking plot holes. But my thing is, with a lot of these movies, you can fuck them up, you can do them again, have an Incredible Hulk, but my thing is, they've burned Superman so many times, and this was, to me, this was like a final time to fuck up Superman. They fucked him up so bad, I just don't see any coming back from him. He's a broken character. He's not fucking dead. Look at the ending. He's fucking rots on the front. I'm like, why did you even bother? You can see shots of Henry Cavill getting ready for fucking Justice League anyway. Why did you do that? So, Batman's gonna have his other series. Superman's already ruined. I don't give to Justice League. Forget about them. Everything we said in the other podcast came to pass. DC do not know. DC Warner Brothers do not know what the hell they're doing. Their live action stuff is a joke. And let me just put this prediction out there now, because I said this to Simon before the podcast. To me, right now on Rotten Tomatoes, it's like a 29% critic score, 73% audience score, and people are saying, "Oh, it's just the critics that hate it, the fans love it." Let me tell you something. This shit is like the Phantom Menace. People like this shit right now because the general audience, the people who don't give a shit about the comics, they love the fan spectacle, just the fight idea. Story resonates through time. This story, there's no story anyway. There's no story. It's completely forgettable. No one's going to remember Batman vs Superman being this epic fight because the fight wasn't good. The story wasn't good. It's not memorable. It will not stand the test of time. And this was, honestly, being like Man of Steel, this was, to me, DC's live action breaking point. This was the movie that destroyed everything else. This is the root cause of their destruction. Everything after this is doomed to fail. Oh, Wonder Woman was great. Nah. You only saw Wonder Woman for 2 minutes. And those 2 minutes, she was only cool because she's a good look. I don't want to prejudge. I wasn't impressed because I'm like, I haven't seen enough to make a decision. But based on everything I've seen right now, I don't trust DC to do anything good. Maybe it's too early for me to say Wonder Woman shit. To be fair, maybe it's too early for me to cast a shadow on Wonder Woman. But alright, Wonder Woman and Suicide Squad are the only two things that could be good. And even if they are, alright, let me actually fuck that. I don't think Wonder Woman's gonna be good. I think
people writing it wrote Pan, which is the lowest rated movie last year, and somebody who sat through it, I can tell you, those guys.
Well, I was trying to be fair, but I can't lie to myself. I don't think Wonder Woman's gonna be any good. Suicide Squad, I genuinely have some hope for. Because the director, that director is actually good. He's a known name. He's got a trusted background. All the other directors they got, DC got, Warner Brothers got for the DC stuff. All the other directors, do you research people? They're all nobodies. Not only are they nobodies, but the stuff they've done in their prior works are bad. Look at Marvel. They've got the Russo brothers. They've got Jon Favreau. They've got they've got good names. They've got the guy who did
the guy who did Creed, who was doing Black Panther, which is very well done.
They got talent involved on their movies. People, creative people. The vibe Warner Brothers is getting off is we don't want creative types. We don't want people. We want people we can control. People who just they think that they can. Honestly, they were being very lazy. And I'm gonna wrap this up and say Warner Brothers really thought they didn't have to do much to make this franchise work. And that's where they fucking failed. Because let me tell you something, just because characters got established fan base, like, oh, Superman, Batman, easy. Fucking Christopher Nolan did it, we can do it easy. Superman, we got graphics today, we can do it easy. We don't need anything. Just get this guy to his 300. We got new graphics today, done. Nah, mate, you fucked up. You fucked this up for the fans. People will see in time this was the beginning of the end for DC. We knew beforehand. Seeing this movie now, 100 times more pessimistic. But saying this all, Simon, I'm going to be watching every single fucking movie. Every single, not just
You enjoy. I'm going to be at home watching, I don't know, anything else. Literally, Paint Dry, The Room, Fantastic Four. You know, all these movies that are, by the way, higher rated than this fucking movie.
Fantastic Four can't be higher rated than this right now.
Give it time.
Give it time.
I'll watch the damn Power Rangers movie from the 90s before I watch this movie again.
Hey, that was fun. I like that.
At least it had a good soundtrack.
So, anyway, I do want to, just before we move on, is there anything else you want to say before we get out of this? Because I want to bring up a few things. Is there anything else you want to get out?
The only reason you may feel like that about Wonder Woman, because Wonder Woman wasn't in this movie. So she was a CGI character at the end.
Yeah.
She didn't get to show. They talked about how the actress was a soldier and all this. I'm like, well, good for her. She never got to show it. She never got to do anything physical. She was standing next to a green screen, and then she went CGI. And before the fight, she was basically Catwoman from The Dark Knight Rises. They not only borrowed the scenario of her stealing something from Bruce Wayne and meeting at a gala, but they borrowed the dress and the camera angles and the color palette shot for shot. So once again, very original.
But everything in DC copies Dark Knight. They call it that's what they want to do. They want to recreate the Dark Knight trilogy. That's where they're going wrong.
Well, they really not recreating jack shit with this one. I mean, you know, what was the last line where Joker said, "You truly are incorruptible. You were never killed." Well, I guess not. I guess something did corrupt him. I guess, you know, fucking collapsing buildings did it, or whatever the fuck. But yeah, I want to move on and talk about the aftermath, because people, like, you know this. Everybody with common sense could tell that this is going to be bad. It was a very quick cash grab, relying on the value and brand recognition of these properties, not on any good storytelling. Anybody would realize that, hey, you need to take your time. You need to build up these characters, have their single movies, build a new mythology. If you come into this cold, you don't know anything about the characters beyond, oh, it's Batman, Superman, you're going to be completely confused. You won't get the references. And even if you do, that just makes it worse, because, you know, they could have done a much better job. And when I see fans trying to defend this, they have to go way back. I mean, I saw people compare this to the, you know, 89 Batman with the killing, or the 60s Batman with the nonsense. They're pulling out movies from the 80s and 70s. They're comparing this to, like, damn, the Phantom movie. And
Zack Snyder said that himself. That's what he actually said, that I'm comparing they killed all the other movies, so I don't know why people are getting bent out of shape for in this one.
And that was my main concern. If I had to name one thing, I'm like, I like evolution. I like filmmakers who built on the foundation established before them and improve everything, not take steps back, not make excuses to write scripts and characters more lazy, where Superman and Batman collectively murder at least 100 people in this movie, and then they try to argue about who's more dangerous. That's the whole fucking point of the movie. I'm like, both of y'all are dangerous. Both of y'all kill people. Lex Luthor actually didn't kill anybody. You did. Damn, he should be against you guys. Fuck this movie, man. Let's move on to the aftermath. I got nothing more to say.
Yeah, we're kind of
speaks for itself.
You know, it's funny you should say that, because Max Landis, he did a YouTube video, and that's exactly what he says. Everyone's saying it. The movie kind of speaks for itself, and you know, he had a very traumatized, because he's a Superman, right? He's writing a Superman comic right now, and he just said this movie isn't a DC movie at all. It doesn't even relate to the characters in any single way. And, you know, it's not even funny. I could see he was just very upset. And I mean, I feel the same way. You know, I was looking forward to seeing his characters. But, as you said, let's move on. Because right now, the movie is done, I'm not going to say gangbusters, but it had a good opening weekend. Again,
of course. After all the marketing, it's expected. It's always about the second weekend with these movies.
Yeah, there's going to be a drop-off. There always is. And this movie, I'm telling you, there's going to be a massive drop-off. And even if there isn't, let me tell you, even if this movie does really, really, really well, they did things in the opposite way. You see, DC, Marvel had the little movies, had to make the little money, and at the end they made a monster pot with the Avengers. So it gradually got, and then it blew up. This movie, to me, they're cashing all the chips in now, then all the little movies aren't gonna make shit.
Yeah, and also, like, you can't judge damage that a movie does to a franchise immediately. Because keep in mind, like, Spider-Man 3
that's right.
made the most money out of the original Spider-Man trilogy, the Sam Raimi movies.
Wow.
Which is still, I hated it, but it's still a better movie than this one. But
yeah,
the franchise never recovered. Those movies never reached that level of success afterwards. Because that movie burned people. So even though you could say, oh, it's the most successful out of all three of them, it's still such a bad movie that it alienated a broader audience who said, I didn't enjoy this. They need to really try to get me back next time. Because
this is going to prove how evil Warner Brothers is. And I say evil, I know it's a strong word, but I'm just going to say, I think a sensible studio will be like, you know what? We're ruining the brand and we can make more money. Let's stop. But Warner Brothers to me is like, no, if it keeps on making money, just keep on milking it. And I fear they're just going to keep, look, man, it's already, as soon as we make a profit, even if it's 100, even if people don't like it, just keep doing it. That's what I feel.
mean, that's how, like, if you look at Zack Snyder's track record, the man hasn't made a good movie in a decade. And he still has a job. I mean, who would hire this buffoon at this point? Nobody likes him. His movies trend terribly with critics. Some of them don't even make money. But when you attach him to a big brand like Batman and Superman, it's bound to make some profit. And he says yes to everything. He's the ideal. You want a dumbass director. He's Mr. Dumbass. He's the guy who says yes to everything. So you don't have to worry about somebody, creating another Marvel situation with Edgar Wright, where Edgar Wright had a very clear vision and he wouldn't just have anything else. He wanted to do a movie that lived up to a certain quality standard, and he wouldn't back away from his ideas or the script. And Marvel needed to get the movie done a certain way in a certain time frame to meet a certain deadline, so it just wouldn't work out. He had to walk away. DC doesn't want that. DC wants somebody who will just say yes and start shooting, even if the script's not ready, even if Ben Affleck has to rewrite the damn script, halfway through the shooting, and then they have to reshot the scene that they already did because they recast Jimmy Olsen as damn Lex Luthor. He doesn't care. He just keeps on rolling. Just put it in slow motion. Looks cool.
And I have to say, I'm I'm upset he's directing Justice League as well, and they already started way before this movie came out. But again, it's doomed. It's already doomed to me, and I have to watch. I'm sorry, I know. Well, how could I say I hate this? I'm so upset. I love Superman, and then say I'm gonna still watch it. Let me tell you something. I still love these characters. I still buy some stories I think are really good for them, and I still will. And I still want to see if there's any writer, because I don't want to say never. I still want one of these fucking directors to surprise me. Not Zack Snyder. I want one of these other directors, maybe the guys doing Aquaman, to make a story about, oh, you know what, this guy has a great idea, and just take over.
Hell no. I'll say this again. I want to see something good again. Of course I do. Of course I do. We all love these properties, and there was a time where the movies were so good, they're completely timeless. You can rewatch them infinitely. You can rewatch 89 infinitely. You can rewatch The Dark Knight infinitely. You can rewatch the first two Superman movies infinitely. But this needs to stop. I didn't watch it in the theaters. I didn't miss a single thing. I was very happy watching, the ISIS recruitment video version of it. Them, Arabic subtitles and whatnot. I mean, that version was crazy, and the phone number just kept coming. Like, call this number. I'm like, they were like, if you feel angry, here's your channel to channel the anger. But they need to stop. This thing needs to be put on a hiatus, because let me tell you, man, I'm only interested in the numbers for Justice League, because I'm sure this movie's gonna have a drop off, and Justice League is not gonna perform as they expected it, because they already did the movie with Batman and Superman. That was the team up people wanted to see. That was the team up people know about. When you say it's Batman and Superman again with all these other guys you don't know, like Cyborg,
and the best thing is, we don't have to wait long, because these fuckers have fast-tracked everything. They're coming out every 2 years. Justice League is next year. Next year! You don't have to wait long.
I know. I mean, they're not dumb, stupid. Like, they saw this movie months before release. They knew it was garbage. They knew people gonna hate it, so they're like, we can't let Marvel run circles around us. We need to hit the iron here while it's hot. We need to get to make our money before the market gets oversaturated, because they know their movies aren't needed. Marvel's enough to keep people entertained, so their movies are just on top of everything else, oversaturating the market, making people feel burned out, disinterested. They had enough of superheroes. They don't make any sense anymore. This movie doesn't make any sense. It's just a bunch of superhero stuff mashed in together. Fans are pissed off. Casual people are confused. Nobody's happy. And they know they're doing it, but they're making money, so they're just rushing through these projects while the interest is there.
Well, we got to wrap up, but I do want to ask you. So I know you said what you want to happen, which is exactly what I want to happen, just like you. But what do you think is going to happen?
Oh man, there's so much up in the air.
Because I've heard that DC they can't. They've got they got stocks and they got things already. The train's already at the station. They can't stop. I heard from the insiders on Screen Junkie, some of the other guys, the insiders, like, they're not going to stop. They're going to keep pushing forward. It's going to take something monumental to stop them.
I'm hopeful because, a little bit of fun trivia for you. After Batman and Robin, there were 2 projects in development. Batman Triumphant, which was a repeat, same style script, trying to get Schumacher back, who at that point was like, okay, this hurts my career. I better go back to doing good movies now. Like A Top to Kill and The Client, stuff that actually did well. So, and the other one was Batman vs. Superman, which was a story about Lex Luthor pitting Batman and Superman against each other, and Robin's dead. That was close to 15 years ago, and they still kept the script somewhere in the, trash can in some office where Zack Snyder digged it up from. But basically, yeah, so none of this is new. So they tried to do this before, and because the movie didn't do well, critically, Batman and Robin, that is, they stopped. So I'm hopeful that maybe the miracle would happen again, and they would just scrap all these ideas and throw it back into the trash can along with the script for this damn movie. But man, looking at the reception and what people commented on it, besides the hilarious Ben Affleck video that everybody saw before he died a little bit inside because he had Daredevil flashbacks, Zack Snyder is in his own world. He doesn't understand the criticism. He does what he does, and if people don't get it, then they're just ignorant. They're ignorant, whatever. In terms of the rest of the movies, it's gonna hurt the whole franchise, its quality. People will lose interest. I think the Wonder Woman movie will probably underperform expectations. Certainly won't do business like this movie did.
No way.
The other characters, they won't do well. The castings look off on them. Aquaman looks very different to what he should be, and the whole movie looks like an underwater episode of Game of Thrones. It's gonna be generic. I just don't see anything interesting, and because the films are completely lack any real emotion, any real character development. There's nothing to really root for. There's no deeper layer that, I don't want to see anybody succeed at anything because there's nothing to succeed at. Things happen at random. Characters are introduced at random. Doomsday was introduced the last 2 minutes. They had to beat him because what else are you going to do with him? He's a big giant monster destroying the city. And I think their biggest problem is that they know they have no clear concept. So they're always looking to somebody to do it all by himself. They tried with Christopher Nolan. They approached him. They said, hey, Chris, you're the man. Me? Man for what? For everything. You're going to do every DC movie now. And, he got away. He said, okay, I'll produce Man of Steel, and then just got the fuck out. Ever since then, when they asked him, what's your opinion about this? I was against it. What about this? I was against that too. That was my input. I was against everything. He didn't say, oh yeah, that was my idea. I thought that would be cool. Nothing. No, never, not a single thing. Then they grabbed Zack Snyder's ass, said, okay, you want to direct everything? Here you go. It's your lucky day. So he fucked up everything. They were like, wow, okay, we kind of messed up. Let's get this clown out after Justice League. So now they're trying with Ben Affleck. Now, Ben Affleck's the guy. Ben Affleck could rewrite everything. He's in every movie. He's in Suicide Squad. He's getting his own trilogy.
Yep.
Even Man of Steel wasn't planned to be a trilogy. They just said, let's just do one movie. But with him, already, 3 movies minimum.
Yeah.
So now they're trying to make him into the big mastermind, and I'm like, he's another guy who never wanted to do it. And this movie showed he doesn't have anything specific to add to it. His portrayal was I think people say the best thing about the movie because it was so safe, average, nothing special. You know, Jesse Eisenberg went completely off in a different direction than you would expect Lex Luthor to go. It wasn't good, but it was different.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck just was Ben Affleck. That's it. He played it safe. And then Zack Snyder turned his character into a mess with all the crazy stuff of murder and torture.
And by the way, I never mentioned Henry Cavill. I just think Henry Cavill, if you don't have a script for Superman, you can't do anything.
He wasn't in the movie. Of course not. He came in at the end and died.
But people are saying he's wooden. I'm like, they've given him nothing to do, so don't blame him. I think he's a good actor. I don't think they gave him anything to do. I think it's very harsh. People are being critical on him.
They should watch The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which is a very good two-man piece. It's a much better two-man show than this movie where him and the other actor, Armie Hammer, who he acts beside, they have actually good chemistry, and it's a good team-up movie. And again, this highlights the problem with what they do with casting. The Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck aren't equal. They're not at equal stages of their career. Ben Affleck has the luxury. He can rewrite his own dialogue. He can stop the scene and say, we're not going to do this.
That's why they brought him in. They got Batman and they got Ben Affleck. It's double the hype. It's like, we're bringing Batman back. Oh, got Ben Affleck. Oh!
In terms of casting, when you cast two young actors or you cast two actors who are on the beginning of their career where they're just becoming big, they can play off of each other and grow together and are kind of on an equal playing field. Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck are not there. Ben Affleck's established. He can do whatever the hell he wants. He can rewrite the script. Henry Cavill cannot do that. So even if he came in with a game plan, when Ben Affleck said, okay, we're rewriting this whole scene.
You couldn't say shit. You couldn't say shit.
Yeah, exactly. He just like, I guess I wasted my time in rehearsal.
Yeah, he did. I feel really bad. Like my sister saw it. I feel really bad for him. He never got a chance as an actor.
He was completely miscast. He's everybody's miscast. Jesse Eisenberg looks like he's in a different movie. Henry Cavill is acting with somebody who basically is a co-producer and director at this point on this whole franchise. So he doesn't really have anybody to play off of. That's why his best scenes in the movie are with Amy Adams.
He doesn't even have his own scenes.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't have his own scenes. He flies around, then he talks to Amy Adams, and those are his best moments because he actually can act with somebody who they can play off of each other, but their characters have no established history.
Yep.
They kissed each other while Superman was murdering people in the last movie, and that's the basis of their entire relationship. And Clark Kent doesn't really exist anyway, so he has nothing to do, and Superman just flies around. So there's really nothing to say. He had no chance. He really got screwed with this, and he doesn't even look good because he's too short compared to everybody else. So he doesn't even have the Superman look anymore. That was his thing when he first got cast, that he looks like the character, but even now in the movie, he just looked off for the most part.
Boy. Well, I think I've said all I've wanted to say, really.
Yeah, please, people, don't watch these movies in the theater. Wait till they come to Netflix. Come on, man. Come on, please. Somebody, everybody yelled at me like, you're being harsh. You're predicting chaos. Like I was predicting the rapture or something. I'm like, I'm not basing my ideas on theory. I'm basing it on facts. I'm looking at who's doing what, their track record, the scripts, the information, the casting.
That's why I have you on. I don't just have you on just got another mouth so we can both rant. You have the facts. And anyway, everything we partial of the things we said, parts of the things we said are our own opinion, but most of it is online. You can check it, and it's not anything we're pulling out of our fucking ass. And you're very well informed. And I'll keep kissing your ass about this, but honestly, you're very well informed. But in this particular case, this movie, this is pretty clear to everybody. And like I said, I honestly feel like this is just another Phantom Menace movie where people loving it for now. It will drop off, and it will have a legacy of being the death of the cinematic universe. And then until they get another Force Awakens kind of situation, this franchise is fucked.
Yeah, you know what? Let's just jump to Force Awakens, or you know what? Let's just jump to fucking Silence. How about that? Like, you know what? Star Wars, good example. Best thing in between movies, animated series, the Clone Wars. Can we get back to that? You know, cancel the movies, do something good in animation. If George Lucas can figure out how to make money off of it, you can do it too. Just hire the people who worked at LucasArts at the time of the Clone Wars. Hire them for your animation department. How about that? That's a good idea.
DC got good animators, but they don't. Again, it's something's wrong with their story department. They don't want to give Bruce Timm anything, and they don't want any other people writing any good stories, and they don't want to adapt any of their good. They're using all of their comics for the fucking movies and ruining them. So I don't know.
Yeah, there's nothing left to say. The movie speaks for itself. It's a clusterfuck. It's badly made on just the level of a movie, like basic things like story, editing, directing, you know, all awful. Acting, again, either it's very dull and uninteresting or just completely off and weird. And the best actor in the movie, Michael Shannon, has no dialogue. He's a dead corpse.
You're funny. You know, you're fucked up for even counting him in. That's funny. He's like, that's not fair. That's not fair for you. You counting him in there as a best actor is a fucking travesty.
But he is the best actor. If you look at what he did,
you know, put it on Facebook. Best actor in Dawn of Justice is Michael Shannon.
His performance was the best, by the way, too, as the dead body. That was amazing.
I got to tell my sister that she's gonna crack the fuck up, man. You know what? We're gonna end this on that note because that's fucking hilarious, guys. You know what? Last time we did this, you guys were bitching that, you know, whatever. You know what? Leave your comments down below if you have any contrary opinions. And most of you guys don't comment, especially on YouTube. Look, man, if you enjoyed the movie, man, good to you. I'm not even gonna hate.
Fuck you. That's my fuck them. No. But get the fuck out of here.
Nah, to each his own. To each his own. I don't even hate the movie. I hate everyone involved. Like I said before in the beginning, I'm sorry. The movie, I can't, you know, it's hard. I know I'm being very contradictory. I don't hate the movie itself. I hate everyone involved. Like I said, I watched the movie and I was just irritated as someone who saw the source material being butchered. 5 different pieces of material butchered. And maybe, like I said, maybe if I was a fan, you know what? Fuck that. Fuck this movie. Why am I even trying? I'm trying to be partial. I'm trying to be nice guy.
There's nothing there, man.
Fuck this. Fuck. You know what? If you like this movie, you need to watch other movies. You need to just check yourself. You need to get some better taste.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
seriously.
The Zack Snyder is supposed to be good with action. The movie barely has action in it. So even that, you know, there's nothing. Yeah. There's literally nothing you can say.
Yeah, you're right.
My closing words are the following. Being a fan of a property, a character, a franchise, feeling love for it, you know, nostalgia, whatever, does not mean that you automatically excuse anything they slap the property name on, no matter how bad or mediocre it is, and you just flock out like sheep and throw money at it. If you really like something, you are critical. You hold it up to a high standard because you want anybody who contributes to the franchise to follow that, you know, principle and live up to that standard. You want quality stuff. You don't want mediocre shit. That's why I'm saying to everybody who likes that movie, fuck you, because you are the problem. The reason why we get these movies, because you're there pre-ordering your tickets. And they don't care. Like, money talks. You need to vote with your wallets. That's it. It's as simple as that. So I want to see good movies. Up until I get them, I'm not watching them. If you're enjoying these movies, you're in denial, and you're going to wake up to a Phantom Menace moment. Like we said before, I got nothing else to say. This movie is atrocious, just like we thought it would be, and I'm sorry. That's it. No DC. This is not the DC universe. This is DC characters thrown into something that is barely even qualifies as a motion picture. And
that's what Max Landis said. So on that note, I'm going to say tweet all your hate mail to Simon_Rad on Twitter. And, also leave a comment down below on Planet Tyro YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, guys. You can get me at Don Tyro. Hit the links on the screen. We've rambled on long enough about this. Next time we're going to talk about something else. This, unless something magical happens with this franchise, I have no idea. But we're both talked out. Thanks for letting me vent, though. Whoever listened, we appreciate if you got this far. Thank you, Simon, for coming on and joining me on this. And I apologize for the tyranny or the anguish we put you through watching this movie.
It's finally over. We're over it. I saw
Yes.
it. It's done. It's
It
dead
is.
to me, just
It's
like
over.
Superman.
It's
And
over.
it should be dead to you too. Thank you for listening, and to a better future without Zack Snyder, please. Have a good night, people. Watch something else.
All right,
Watch
guys.
the trailer for Civil War.
Again. Why'd you have to end on the Marvel loving note? Why'd you have to do that for, Simon? Come on.
Because
now.
I wanna not only stab people but twist the knife.
But to be fair, that is coming out in a few weeks. So we all get to wash our mouths out with some good CP. I'm sorry. Simon called it and it is out in a couple of weeks. So maybe next time we'll talk about how great Marvel's doing. I don't know. But anyway, guys, that's enough of that. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you want more content. Hit the annotation on the right to all the other stuff we do for animation, TVs, books, shows, the Year of Lupin, the rants, the rambles, all the other stuff, and more Podcast 19. But until then, guys, I'll see you later.
Bye.
Peace.